Hello everybody, welcome to another winning list video. We are busy AF right now with winning list videos because our team just be winning shit all the time, which is fantastic. So today we're here and we're looking at Adam Gladys's Grey Knights Teleport Strike Force.
Hello. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so hello Adam, well you already have. So Adam came 10th at the Northeast Open out of 110 players. So like we're not just doing with lists that win small RTTs, we're doing lists on these videos that go in the top 10% at Super Majors. We feel like that's worthy. So he went on a 4-1 win streak with this list with the Grey Knights at Super Majors. So yeah, finished in 10th place, just behind Chris. If you've not watched our other video, Chris finished 9th for the Space Wolves, so you can check that out as well. Just one place above Adam. Picture to it, lad. But yeah, so do you want to just crack on with the list and run us through what you've taken and why you've taken it?
Yeah, so I'll be completely honest. At the start of Pariah, I kind of didn't really know where to go with Grey Knights. I play 5 armies now, and I was just a little bit lost. So I was kind of copying people. And I was getting nowhere with it. I went from like a 91% win rate with Grey Knights to dropping down to like 47%. Just wasn't great. I lost 7 practice games off the bat. And the archetype I was originally going was like Terminator, like big blob Terminator spam. So kind of turned that around, just got a little bit sick of it, and just thought, what actually do I want out of Pariah now? I've lost 7 games and I've learned a lot of things from that. And it was difficult losing 7 games in a row and then being like, right, I've now got to go to a super major with 7 games of practice, but I've not won anything. Yeah, I'm having to change my list completely. So I kind of stripped it back to exactly what I want out of Pariah, and that's I want to be able to do actions and do damage still. So Brotherhood Librarians are the archetype I kind of had to go for, because again they can do the action. And they can still do their ability and do the mortals. So that was the key point for them. Kaldor Draigo is just pretty much an auto included at the moment for Grey Knights. If you're not taking him, then something's going wrong. Pariah Nexus and the way that secret missions work, Grey Knights are absolutely amazing to do that. Not only is Kaldor Draigo attached to a BATTLELINE Terminator Squad that's hard to kill, they come back. You know, you've got a res of 1 Terminator per turn. They're OC3. They're just nails to kill. You can also do the Warlord one with him having that key deep strike once per battle. Yeah, you get an extra 3 inches. So you can go up to 15 inches from deep strike, which is pretty nutty when you think about it. When it lands and it lands high, it's pretty good. NDKs, the Nemesis Dread Knights, we're looking at those for they're the damage dealers. Again, in all of my practice games, dice just kind of left me, really. I had no luck whatsoever. Will Whitaker even said, like, look, your dice will come back and they'll do bits for you, Neo, and they did, like, they really did. But yeah, so they're pretty obvious with the heavy side cannon and the heavy incinerator. So they do what they need to do. They also advance, fall back, shoot and charge. So they're kind of just those key pieces that do a bit of everything. And then Eversor Assassin, you've got loads of actions where you've got to survive and do things, or just put yourself into little weird places and actually have to survive that, and having a loan up. I've found Pariah to be pretty key for that. I suppose I've
went up in value, didn't they, when the Pariah dropped?
Yeah, definitely. And then I've overlooked the enhancement there on the Librarian. Again, just while we're touching on actions there, it's the ability to chuck out a squad of Terminators that are pretty durable anyway. They're a nice juicy target that are going to bait someone out. And Sigil of Exigence just allows you that once per game just to straight come off the board and then land 9 inches away for wherever you want. So it means you can get those 5 points for area denial early game. You can get to where you want to be.
Yeah, nice. And what's the first to the Fray one? What's that one?
Yeah. So I kind of overlooked this constantly while playing Grey Knight. But it's essentially allows you to come from deep strike turn 1. You ignore your reserves limits as well.
Cool.
Yeah. So
can you
again,
ingress as well?
you what?
Can you rapid ingress with that, or
No. It's just coming in from deep strike. But again, when you pull in those cards early turns and you don't want to send out too much of your army to go and do something or control the mid board is really, really key with Grey Knights. Being able to use the Fray and just stick them in the middle and say, this is mine, day to come and get it, kind of thing. And then having a librarian to just go, right, I can place a librarian exactly where I want it, turn 1.
I think it's really cool that you were going through a bit of a bad patch and then you settled on this for the event and went on a 4-1 streak. I think like sometimes you only learn from your losses though, right? And there was a lot of change with the Pariah coming out. There was a lot of change to how army lists builds are done.
Definitely, and I wanted to build around a mechanic and an archetype. So the librarians are the archetype, and the mechanic is the secret missions, and having a full army of battle line, where with your warlord attached to it as well. You know, most of my squads are all battle line, so that's pretty key in scoring.
Yeah.
So I knew that I was going to be scoring low, but I could, have that comeback mechanic, give someone that false sense of hope in the first couple of turns, and that was my game plan with it. Is just I'm going to stick back, I'm going to shoot and kill what I want because I'm Grey Knights and I can position where I want and give you a sense of hope, and then kind of lay the hammer down after that.
Yeah,
didn't always work, but that's the idea.
Did you find that you did secret missions in most of your games then?
I did it in my first one, and that actually pipped me the win.
Nice.
Second game, I didn't have to, but I was going to.
Yeah.
I ended up coming back. I was quite lucky that it was Purge the Foe. And then what else? Yeah, so third one, I had to dominate primary. If I didn't, I was going to lose. I could come into that.
Okay. But it's nice that it's there, isn't it? You've got the option to easily pull one off if you are behind, I suppose. That's what this list can do, isn't it? So your opponent can never like pull too far ahead without you sort of having that comeback up your sleeve, right?
Yeah, and Grey Knights want to be killing targets. It's target priority, right? You've got to hit what you need to hit. And that's what the whole army's built around, being able to pull 3 squads at the end of your opponent's turn, and then put them back down. It's not just board control. That's taking the point scoring units. It's taking away the ability to trade, because I'm not really trading when I'm putting 1,000 points on my army down in a quarter of the board and then deleting whatever I'm looking at, and then coming away into the next turn and then going to the next board quarter and doing exactly the same thing.
I just want to speak to the list building as well. We all see a lot of this in all tournaments that we go to. You get 1 or 2 lists that are really, really good and strong, and then you get people copying them. So you get I remember like the Knights back in 9th, and then the Demons, the 5 big Demons in the start of 10th, and everyone had them. Like you've just shown that it's much better to build a list that fits your own play style, that resonates with you, rather than kind of copying. So obviously the copying just didn't work for you, and you obviously found that, and then built this, and you were like, you know what, I can do this myself, and you proved it, because he literally went 4-1 with it. And I think that's the advice that a lot of people should take away, actually, is that that just the fact that you sit down and you build your own thing, you learn the list a lot better, you understand it a lot better, because you know what you want out of the list. So it's really good stuff, right?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point, because a lot of people do just copy and paste like winning lists, and they don't know how to use them, because they didn't build it and they don't understand like how to use it, basically. Yeah, so it's a good point.
It's like so some people have the weirdest lists but are an absolute weapon with them.
Yeah,
and they and it's all down to play style. It's all down you as a player and how it resonates with you. Right, I'm going to move on to say again.
Come back to that in round 4 with.
Okay.
Right, cool. Moving on.
So let's give it a go. On to round one. You had Drukhari, Sky Splinter Assault.
Yeah.
Oh, is this? No, it's not Callum. I thought it might have been Callum. It's and the score was
75-66 to Adam.
75-66. Nice. So decent win. Looks like we've got so 3 Archons, Nightmare Shrouds, Platform Ready, 2 Cabalites, which I assume were just spread out amongst the Venoms. 10 Witches in a Raider.
Absolute beast.
Yeah.
But you see a lot of Aeldari lists at the minute as well with the anti-infantry. She gets like 1 million attacks at anti-infantry, doesn't she? She's really, really good.
Yeah. 3 times 5 Scourges. So yeah, take it away. Let's hear about it.
Unless you can control where she goes and don't give her a good target.
Yeah.
Which Grey Knights are really good at. So,
yeah.
You know, comes back to the meta at the moment of MSU play style. Everything trades well, everything hits hard in Drukhari, and you've got to respect that. And I think, you know, I know Karma, play with him a lot. He's from the club. He's from Clubhouse Gaming. So it was actually our first game against each other, despite the fact that we've been playing at Clubhouse for a really long time. We've just never been paired into each other. So we're both looking forward to it, knowing going into this that like we're both decent players, and we both know how to pilot our lists really well. Also, my first time against Drukhari, like again, I know the sort of theory behind them. I know to respect them and their ranges. And a couple of things caught me out, not gonna lie. Losing some Dread Knights here and there, but yeah, I suppose key threats were the Scourges. Anything that has the firepower to put down an NDK and then get back behind cover scares me. It really does.
Indirect, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically indirect, and they absolutely wreck Dread Knights. No, do they wreck Dread Knights? But it's the pain token mechanic as well is really nasty when you pair that with them. Ravagers I kind of needed to respect, but also he kind of had to respect me because Ravagers and Venoms are like the perfect target for NDKs. He did play them really reserved, which I was really happy with. But yeah, they're my main threats. Obviously Lilith, and Incubi as well. It's just pretty much everything in this list.
Yeah.
I really was, man. I was quite scared into this game, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, not game one, man. But yeah, I suppose my plan in terms of deployment there is, you know, I don't want to get shot turn one is the big thing. I need to play everything on the table, apart from my thirst to the fray, because that's my sort of my scoring piece as well as the damage where I want the damage. But Grey Knights want to spread the armies out, right? You don't want someone to castle up, especially on this kind of deployment where you really are stretched out. You've got that opportunity in the bottom left there. You've got some big ruins. On the bottom right, it's only a little ruin, but you can really hide behind it or kind of bait things out, you know? So you've got to really spread people out, because if you allow someone with a shooting army like this to kind of castle and just gang up on you and get the targets they want, it's index. So I had to be really good on deployment. I was measuring my firing lanes as to where things can go. Sometimes you just can't do anything about that with Scourges. They move 14 inches, they shoot ridiculous, and they hit hard. So thankfully, they deployed far in the top right corner. And I was really happy about this because I had a lot of my firepower down near my home objective and kind of in the centre. That's where my NDKs were, and he wasn't going to get good lines turn one. I think he had the haywire ones in reserves as well.
Okay.
But yeah, that was my plan really. Obviously, game one, I believe, it's Terraform. So I can't touch 3 objectives and go, I'm going to Terraform.
No.
And you're going to then trade, whereas he could. Thankfully, I think I went second, so I could kind of react a little bit more. I knew at this point he's going to control primary game. He's going to Terraform, and he really did. He put a lot of pressure on my home field objective on the right there.
Yeah.
And just kind of sat with a lot of power in the kind of middle ruin there that's on an angle. just off the centre. He had like a Ravager in there with the Witches and the Venom nearby, and the Scary boat, which is with the Cabalite, all the shooting from the Cabalite warriors in one with the Archon. Turn points really were when I realised I could do a secret mission, and I was trading really well. I was holding back. I was kind of only giving up what I was willing to give up, and at that time that was my Strike Marines. I was like, if I don't mind giving my Strike Marines as long as I can keep my damage dealers and trade really well. I unfortunately rolled a couple of ones. That's just going to happen with my librarians. But thankfully, when I rolled the ones, they were still doing actions. So I was still getting points out to them. I think I was, anyways. It might have been that
it looked like you stopped him terraforming till turn 4. Or he didn't score any points on his terraform till turn 4 at least. So you did manage to sort of hold that off.
Yeah, and I think that was my saving grace. Actually, was that he's only putting those trading units out. He got everything pretty much out of Venom's early days, which I was really happy about, because it meant I didn't really have to react too much. I didn't have to demechanize him. He did obviously do I'm going to get straight back in after I do that, but not in all cases. He kind of came out overextended in a couple of cases. Yeah, got some Strike Marines, but then lost some key units as in a return. But yeah, as soon as I was able to pick my secret mission, obviously I know I've got BATTLELINE, and being able to plan it, having such a large area in the back there, and I was constantly baiting on the bottom right. So this is sort of my big turn points. Really, is I was really putting threat on my home field objective to pull all of those units out of his home field, because it was so cluttered on that real thick part of the deployment zone that I knew I just wasn't going to be able to score easily my secret mission, so I had to pull everything out. So gave some juicy targets, and eventually everything came out, and then pulled the Ravagers back over to the left hand side of the board, with some Dread Knights and a Terminator Librarian.
That's pretty cool. That's interesting how you sort of pulled him about the board where you wanted him, so that you could get your secret mission off. I like it.
Yeah. I had no choice, otherwise I was going to lose. I also made a really big mistake by charging a Fights First unit. I think it was like the Court of the Archon unit, and that wrecked four Terminators. I was surprised. Yeah.
Did you forget, did you just forget there were Fights First?
No, I knew there were Fights First, but I didn't expect them to kill 4 Terminators.
Yeah, you just thought I can tank this.
Yeah, man, I did not run a single 4-up, I don't think. Just had to but I still had the Libby left, and I told him about Sigil of Exigence, what it can do. I still had it, and then he just decided to just pull up my name with a pistol and try and blap him with a pistol in combat. And I was like, that's the wrong decision, man. I'm just going to disappear now.
Love that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well done, man. That's sweet. I love how you went on a secret mission on that as well.
Yeah, he's faced at the end, bless him. I was like, I'm really sorry, man, but I've just pulled off my secret mission. Yeah.
Right. So just before we move on, just want to plug our events and merch. So you can visit our website in the description below, and there you'll find all tickets to our up and coming events. And you'll also find our 40k flash tees, which are designed by tattoo artists from up and down the country. And every time you buy one, they get paid directly. So you're not only supporting us, but you're also supporting them, and they're made to order, so they're ethical t-shirts. Our up and coming events, we've got one this Sunday. As of this recording, there's one ticket left, and to be honest, this will probably go out after next Sunday anyway. So sorry, you can't go to Crusade. You snooze, you lose. You missed out. That's just the way it is. And then we've got Ascension at Lodis Games in Leeds, September 15th. So plenty of tickets still left for that. You can find tickets for that in the link in the description to our website. And I also want to tell you about the big Carnage GT at Element Games in Stockport, which is in October, Joe?
13th, I think.
Yeah, October. And so we're super excited for that. 2-day event, 44 players, 5 rounds. It's gonna be sweet. So yeah, get to that if you can. And if you're enjoying this video, slap a like and drop us a subscribe if you can be asked. We would really like it because it just makes
Even
the
if
more
you don't
engagement.
like it, just give.
Yeah, even if you don't.
Just do it.
The more engagement we get, the better we can make the graphics. You know, we've got people reaching out saying, you know, we love the videos, but we want to see more of the units on the terrain. So would we. So would we. So if we get engagement, we're able to do that. So yeah, without further ado, let's crack on with round 2. So you had Imperial Knights Noble Lance round 2. And it was Canis, Rex, Knight Castellan. Interesting. 6 Little Uns, a Calidus, and a squad of 5 Voidsmen. It was 89-66. Do you want to give us a rundown?
Yeah, so Purge the Thought in this one, difficult when both armies have not unkillable units, but very, very durable units. You know, I've got my Bricks of Terminators, and his are all T10 or T12. It's plain and simple for him. He's stat checking here. This, if you remember, I was talking about Will Whitaker in my practice games, and he said your dice will come back to the Neo and they'll give you a good run. They really did in this game, and I'm under no illusion what my dice did for me this game, with my NDKs. Big threats are obviously here. The Canis Rex can pretty much just one bang a Terminator unit if he rolls really hot. That mechanic for putting on 5s and getting a re-roll's pretty powerful. When if I fail an invuln, I'm just dead. There's no way about that. Knight Castellan, gotta respect its shooting. It was a pretty odd deployment, this one, with the way that we were kind of strung out. Kind of allowed me to stretch the field a little bit more. Again, I tried to do what I did with the previous game, stretch them out. I'm not gonna lie, I think the deployment zone there is probably the wrong one. I think it was a long deployment again.
Okay, so it was the same as before, the first one.
Yeah, similar, but it's just the solid line one. But yeah, I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, easily stretched him out. I had 3 sort of not Helverins, the Warglaives on one side, 2 Warglaives on the other, and a Helverin kind of sitting about his middle objective. It's a weird thing having to play around Canis Rex and the Castellan being 2 drops. So that kind of
they make it 2 drops now, don't they, Titanic?
Yeah. But thankfully, he didn't just be like, right, I'm going to force you to take 2 drops one after the other, which was I was pretty happy about. He used all of his Helverins first, so I kind of got the maximum amount of information I was going to get. My deployment. The deployment that we had actually allowed me to scout from the line on one of the at least one, if not both, if I remember correctly, with my strike marines. Obviously, home field objective, I'm playing on MT3 terrain, which I play on Monday and Wednesday every week. So I kind of understand placement and things like that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, big plan with those strike marines was that I could either go 6 inches forward onto the objective, stick that turn 1, or come backwards and go behind a piece of terrain and not be in trouble. Again, had I think I put 1 Dread Knight into reserves because I couldn't hide it. I just knew I wouldn't be able to hide it, so I had a Dread Knight in reserves and my first to the fray. So yeah, that was my plan. Same as before. Except this one, I was playing Killhammer. I was going for it here, and really ganging up, and put when I was saying, you know, putting nigh on 1,000 points of my army in one part of the board, I was really going for it.
Yeah.
But the layout of the terrain allowed me to only give away, you know, I think at one point I literally turned around and I said, I'm giving you one target here, and I'm really sorry, but it's my Sigil Exigence unit, and if you shoot it, I'm just going to disappear. So he had an entire turn of not being able to shoot anything, but in return, I took 2 War Dogs. So obviously that's the kill, it's the kill more. And there was nothing he could do about that.
Yeah, it looks like dominated the prime. The 12-12-12 there, is that from kill more then rather than the hold more?
Yeah, so that's the kill more. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Nice.
Which is weird because I was playing it at night, but
that's pretty good, mate.
yeah, man, big game plan to try and remove all the mini knights early on. That's his scoring, right? If he's left with Canis Rex and the Castellan, which is exactly what happened at the end of the game, what realistically can he do when I can play around that? I've got the movement to just not be shot by them. And that's exactly how it went.
Nice. Kill the little ones and then play hide and seek. Yeah.
yeah. Except from when Kaldor Draigo wants to come out and play a game, and he'll go on your home objective and then clap Calidus and Void's Men at Arms. So
nice.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Well, let's if there's nothing else to chat about, let's move on to round 3. So it's the final game of the first day. You had Hypercrypt Legion Necrons.
Yeah.
And we were looking at 83-61 on this one.
Yeah.
A decent win.
Yeah, this was a good one. Again, this isn't an easy match. First of all, this guy's Team Island, right? He's going to WTC, so he's there now. He's playing now, as we speak.
Okay, that's a good win then.
It is, but it's the mirror match, right? So whoever goes second here has got a huge benefit. So that first dice roll, first of all, that's the main threat, because whoever gets that, that's going second, right? Has got the real advantage in this game, especially when he's got that enhancement that allows him to pull an extra unit. So big threats here are the Doom Scythes. When I was looking at the list, I was like, I wonder how this is going to play. I really had no idea what he was going to do with it, but it became really obvious very quickly what his game plan with this list is. And he's got 3 Doom Scythes, and he's got the Silent King that just provides reroll mechanics. And all of a sudden, when you've got these Doom Scythes that are obviously they're flyers, and they can just pretty much see whatever they want from wherever they want. And they get the reroll mechanic from the Silent King. And they're also really hard to interact with, especially in melee if you don't fly. And I only get fly when I advance for that phase.
I haven't seen the flying croissants of Doom for a while, to be
Neither have I, man.
I bet you were like, what are these doing on here? I actually don't know what they do.
I can't remember now. I know that they've got a big heavy anti-tank gun, and then they've got some Teslas that are like twin linked. What I do remember them doing though is very, very early on. You can see the black ruins are the biggest ones. I had an NDK in both of those, and again I put another NDK in reserves because I just can't. I know I can't hide on MT3 boards. Played on them enough to know that 3 NDKs, if you've got shooting threats, do not put all of them on the board. I'm going to lose them. And I very, very, very nearly lost. I don't think it was turn 1. I think it was maybe turn 2. Both NDKs that turn, and I was like, this is going to be game. 4 ups, man. Just roll 4 ups. Came into play there with the anti-tank shocks. This is the one where I knew I had to control primary. This is the only one where I knew I wasn't going to go for a mechanic. I've got to control that mid board. Again, this one was hidden supplies, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was. So there was an extra 2 objectives. So it was great for me.
The mission on this, I don't know if I've missed that.
The mission for this one, I think, is taking hold, man.
Yeah, because I can see a 15-15.
Yeah, taking hold mission, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so essentially, obviously, that big sort of ruin in the middle allows me to, because of where the extra 2 objectives are, right, you can stay in that terrain piece and hold both objectives with 1 Terminator unit strung out.
Right.
And what I did is I just put 2 in there. So one line of one Terminator unit, one line of the other's, character on one character, and the other just controlled that mid-center piece. And what that forced him to do was drop the Silent King and the Doom Croissants, and the bottom right, where I'd placed my NDK nicely to come up, and then do the same on the top left, drop down and fire into that, or give him other things to shoot. And at some points he did take the other things. He'd played a nigh perfect game. But yeah, again, my plan here with this one, I can't spread you out. I'm on the Battenberg, right? I'm on Search and Destroy here. I can't spread you out. This is, both of us are playing for who goes second. And I needed to kill I didn't even touch the Wraiths. Literally didn't even look at them.
Just leave them alone. It's probably wise.
I needed to kill the Destroyers. I needed to kill the Flayed ones. And thankfully he gave me that ability to do that early doors, because he knew he kind of needed to get primary, and he used Flayed ones to try and bait me out. But because of MT3 terrain, there is occasional times where I can just get a slither of a beam 18 inches away with my NDK, fire a heavy like the Psy Cannon and the Incinerator, and delete a unit, and you can't see me back, because that's my army rule, right? I'll go where I want, shoot from where I want. His Wraith unit was threatening the right side objective on the bottom there.
Yeah.
We didn't really touch this objective very much. A couple of times we interacted on it. Big plays where I allowed him to try and take an NDK with something, and then I'd missed it away.
Yeah.
And then when he dropped down a Hexmark Destroyer, for example, onto an objective at the top left, and that was the only thing up there to hold that objective or do an action, I just rapid ingress straight back down with an NDK 14 inches away. Can't be shot by anything. I know that I'm going to just go move up and wipe that next turn. Did that a couple of times. I did that with both these Hexmark Destroyers, and I think that was quite frustrating for him as a mechanic to try and interact with, because it's really hard to try and get around that, right, when I've got NDKs in the sky.
It looks like you really put his primary down a few times at looking at that. I mean, turn 4 he got none.
Yeah, turn 4 completely took him off primary. I think I managed to get onto his home field objectives with some Terminators. I pushed out with one of my units. I tried to bait so there was a Locust Destroyer just kind of in the corner of that L on the home field. And I wanted to charge that, and I was trying to bait the Wraiths backwards so I could control that objective. He didn't take it, which was the clever play, because then he kind of wanted to move into the center. This was the point where he realized he needed to take a secret mission. I put them all out in front of me. First time I'm having to deny them. I know exactly what he's going to take. He's either going to take Warlord or my home. You look at that. How's the Silent King going to fit anywhere near that objective if I've got anything controlling it at the end there?
Yeah.
So I put So what I did is I stuck Kaldor Draigo's unit down there. You're not getting on it.
Yeah.
And I can pull that unit at the end and get what I need to do with it.
Yeah.
Nice. And yeah,
it's so much harder with having a secret mission and going first as well.
Yeah. And he picked the one where he's on 3 objectives, and that was immediately obvious when he just kind of started to just string out Wraiths over 2 objectives, stick the Silent King on one. Like, he really went all in. Whatever he had left, he stuck on 3 objectives. Kaldor Draigo came out. I also was able to use the not Sigil of Exigence, Mists of Deimos, and rapid ingressed on if you can see the big black L's, the ones that are in the middle.
Yeah.
So the one on the right is his home field advantage, L. I dropped in there when he moved his Wraiths back out, so a rapid ingress back in there, because I knew by this point he wasn't going to be willing to charge backwards, because he had to hold these objectives.
Yeah.
And then what I did at the end is he was only on 3 objectives, not all 4, because he didn't have enough units. Is I put 30 OC on that bottom right objective.
Nice.
Those guys walked out and dropped 15 OC onto it, and then Kaldor Draigo charged onto it, and 30 OC, that's index.
Yeah, it's a bit of
OC. Let's if we're happy, should we move on to the next round? Are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff. let's crack on. So round 4 is the first game of the second day. Aeldari Battle Host.
Yeah.
So you had like a mix. I was looking at this list before. It's like a mix of classic Aeldari with a bit of Harlequins and a bunch of Drukhari in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nasty list, this. Do you want to run us through it, Adam, seeing as you had the pleasure of playing against this filthy list?
Yeah, so I had a bit of experience playing at Drukhari round 1, so I kind of wandered into this thinking, well, I know how to play around this. What I didn't realise is that this is Aeldari, completely different kettle of fish, this one. Now, things that I were worried about, warp spiders, pretty good into me. Do you know what? It's just everywhere's dev runes, right? You look at this list, and there's dev runes everywhere. There's anti-infantry, there's support weapons, there's scourges again. It's nasty.
Yeah.
Now, when we were setting up, obviously I've got 7 or 8 drops. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. And you look at that, he's got 13, maybe more. Like, he's got a ridiculous amount of MSU.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff. So
we started deploying quite tactically, and he was just given some throwaway units, things he was putting behind walls, and it kind of looked like we were going to start playing the trade game like I did in game 1. And then he just went, do you know what? Fuck it. Excuse me language. But he just deployed absolutely everything on the line.
Really? Full send?
A full send, and he was like, I'm just going to go first. And he needed to do that amount of damage early doors. And that is exactly what he did. He did go first. Yeah. Team Scotland, this guy knows what he's doing. Got to say, lovely bloke. But yeah, he full sent me, and he pretty much trapped me in. He put everything infiltrated 9 inches away from a deployment zone, ready to charge in. Mandrakes, striking scorpions, just did everything he needed to do. I'm not gonna lie, I think I lost around about 1,000 points turn 1.
Ooh. Was that with? Did he have D cannons in range and stuff, or was it just literally Scourge? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's search and destroy.
Yeah, because it's search and destroy, and he just deployed on that round bit there. Everything.
Yeah. My God.
Yeah, it's different. It's different to UKTC terrain, this, because there's quite a lot of space on the curve in this terrain. There is on the UKTC. You can't fit an awful lot around here, but there is some nice big spaces to fit some stuff.
There's nowhere to hide, I'll be honest with you. It's my one complaint about this board. I like the rest of them. I think they're really well designed. Again, know the guy that designed them. But this is the one that terrifies me, because there's nowhere to hide. Melee
Especially
army.
when everything can move. Like warp spiders are going 24 inch, your scourges are going 14 inch. It's where can you hide when they can just move that fast as well?
Yeah.
Nowhere. And everything pretty much that wanted to be in my deployment zone was in my deployment zone, killing units. I think I ended up having Draigo's unit was at full capacity. I lost one of my Libby units. The other Libby unit was down to 2 Terminators. I lost both squads of strikes. And one NDK was in the sky, and I lost, I think, both of those NDKs as well. So I had 5, I think maybe with the revives, had the 5 Terminators and Draigo, and then it wasn't pleasant. But and then it would be the squad.
Sorry, Elliot, go on.
No, I was gonna move on to round 5. But yeah, if you got some last questions.
I was just gonna say, did you get to see what the Yvrain and Vizark and Troop unit was all about? Because it's doing the rounds at the minute. You're pretty much seeing it in there.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Because he threw it into Kaldor Draigo's unit, and I've got the 4-up, feel no pain against that. I did kind of survive it, but I'm not going to lie to you, man. We had, I got on with this guy. He was pretty sound, really nice bloke, and we were just enjoying the game so much, despite the fact that I just had my teeth punched out. I still, was like, let me roll some dice, man. I'm here to play Warhammer. I still think I can score some points. And he let me do that. And it got to a point as well where he was like, right, I know I'm going to get 100. And I think he let me score sort of 20 other points. He was just like, I'm going to stand still. So I didn't have to fight Uvrain's unit too many times. He just pulled back. He fell back with him, and he's like, I'm going to hold your home field objective, but I'm going to let you do what you want with that unit. I'm going to trust the fact that you're going to score some points here. So he did, like I say, I got on with him. We had a good crack, and he was like, right, I know I'm going to win, so here's score some points.
Right.
Proper top rank is Alan.
Let's move on to round 5 then. Obviously a very tough game for you there. With a hard list, in the hands of a very good player as well. So round 5, last game of the second day, last game of the tournament, you had Tau Montcar. And this was a 96-55 victory in round 5.
That's a pretty convincing win for your last round.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So game plan with this one is again pretty hard to split Tau up, right? They kind of want to do that anyway. They kind of want to just be T-posing across the board. The things I was scared of here, as anyone should be when they're playing Tau, is the Triptide. Triptide is nasty. It moves far. It shoots hard. You can't hide from it. It's awful. He's got lots of things to guide with as well, stealth suits and breach your team, just everything, and pathfinders. What I was super thankful for is the way I deployed. I did the normal thing in deployment where I was like, right, this is how far you can move. This is your shooting lines. And I literally put dice out on the board. These are the no-go zones. I'm not going to deploy here. But if I deploy in this, do you agree that you can't shoot me? And he was like, yeah, can't get anything there turn 1. So I was relatively safe turn 1, despite the way that board kind of looks. He couldn't get any angles onto me. And if he did, whatever he got angles on me with, like a Riptide or something, he was going to lose, and he knew that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a saving grace for this board against Tau. Is if I'd have played on the one beforehand, I'd have been dead immediately, nowhere to hide. But this gave me places to stage, this gave me places to hide, and he was really aggressive with his Pathfinders. That's what got him. So you can see the tiny little L just off. So you got the middle bit.
Laser pointer, hang on.
Yeah. So that you see that one there, yeah. So I stuck an Eversword just behind that. And then I think, did I pull Sabotage turn 1? Yeah. So
just do it, can't you there?
Yeah, just move him up, drop him in there, and go, you can't do nothing about this. No, literally where you've got the circle. Exactly where you've got the circle. I just touch that objective slightly outside of my deployment zone, and I get 3 points. And then it allows me to go up and destroy the Pathfinders with him next turn. So not only did he score me 3 points, he then went and killed a load of Pathfinders, and boy, does he rip into Pathfinders when he's got sustained hits 3.
You rolled the 6s then, lad, I'm presuming.
Yeah, I got 9 extra hits, man, and it wasn't good. Yeah, it wasn't good. Yeah.
9 extras.
Pathfinders got rinsed. And another lucky thing that happened is some shooting from 2 NDK Flamers on the other side of the other objective for the other Pathfinders. He left 2 alive. I actually wanted to kill the unit, but it was a bit of a saving grace and a turning point for me because I had Strike Marines that moved up into the other small L and were able to charge through the wall safely with something like, a 5 or 6 inch charge there at the other side of the wall because he was touching it an inch away with those 2 guys. That got me some good points and denied some good points. And then I just went full send on the right-hand side, which meant he had to react to it. And when he did, he targeted my... he moved some things. He did forget. Now, young Oliver, I've played him a few times again, another Clubhouse player. He did forget, despite reminders, about my Sigil of Exigence. And he was like, I have to shoot them. And... yeah, he did. They disappeared. And and then they came back because the way that he'd moved so aggressively to deal with all of my army down at the bottom there left a huge opening in his home field, and I just dropped them in there, and that was what really turned the game. As you can see by that point, he was just kind of torn everywhere. He started to not be able to do secondaries because he's having to go in several different directions. And
it's a game-changing mistake. Is that it's a similar sort of thing what used to happen with the Incan, where someone would like bring on their entire army, bring in the deep strike, strat reserve, line everything up, get it ready, and then they'd shoot a flamer at the other side of the board to kill like one wounded model or something, and you just go and ping it to the other side of the board. It's a similar sort of thing, isn't it?
The scoring says it all. The scoring tells a 1,000 words here, because we're looking at obviously no recovering assets, no mark for death, couldn't kill any characters. You're chasing him round the board, so he maybe picked up a few units, and then he's got engaged because he's basically all over the place. And then obviously extend battle lines in turn 5 because you're literally just doing a big, just kind of pushing him all over the place.
He's not on his home objective for that extender. You can see.
He did make a mistake with that recover assets as well. Obviously, I denied it, and then he had to keep the card, which was unfortunate. He used glass units, and I killed one of them, and he only did it with 2, so it meant he failed the action and had to keep the card. It was just unfortunate. I think a series of few small mistakes from Oliver.
It's game 5. You can allow a few mistakes.
Yeah, the second day as well. Yeah.
Well done, Adam. So that was it. 419 points in total. 4-1, top 10.
Not high scoring. Not going to win an event with it, I don't think. But I think this is going to be a good teams list. It's going to drag out the 10-10s. It scores consistently, and denies consistently as well.
That's one of the things we usually ask as well at the end. What would you change if you would? Would you like anything about the list? Would you change anything, or are you going to play this list again, or are you going to do a full rewrite, or
I'm going to look at the similar archetype, but I really want to try and play around the purifiers. But the problem with the purifiers is you're teching into 2 armies, really, Eldar and Drukhari, because the purifiers rip them apart. Kind of Tau Kroot spam, but we're not really going to see that anymore now that you can only bring that one back. So I want to try and play around with the purifier bomb, but really you're only speccing in a couple of T3 armies. So it's a bit more risk. But yeah, I think this list, I was going to bring this Sunday, but I've changed my mind. I've got some new toys to play with. But I will be coming back to my Grey Knights and picking them up, especially I think for teams tournaments. I think they were just an auto include especially for our team. We've got some big hitters in our team, and I think what we need is some consistency in being able to drag that 10-10 out, and that's what my aim for this army is just to get good with dragging the 10-10 out for the team.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Cool. Sweet.
Excellent.
Thanks a lot, Adam.
Yeah, thanks so much for being on, pal. Really, really appreciate it. And great, obviously, great turnout for you at the end of the year. So yeah, that's it from us. Again, smash the like button and the subscribe button if you enjoyed it. Really helps out the channel. And we'll see you guys in the next video.
See you later, guys.